From where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe, you are listening to Talk in the Night. I'm your host, Paranormal Phil, and later in the show tonight, we're going to be talking with my guest, Mike Cavalli, all the way across the pond in the United Kingdom, as we talk about proof of survival, life beyond our physical bodies. But first, Hawkins feared the rise of enhanced superhumans. The late physicist predicted that genetic engineering will ultimately render half of the world's population obsolete. Hawkins, who died back in March, left a collection of papers and articles which included some of his notes on the external dangers our species may face in the coming decade. Of particular interest were his thoughts on the future in which wealthy individuals might choose to have themselves or their children's genetically enhanced, thus leading to a race of improved superhumans. Now, you can read the rest of that story and so much more on the Talk in the Night website at talkinthenight.weebly.com. And check out all the other content and upcoming shows on the thing. So let's talk about beyond our physical bodies, opening the third eye, and so much more with my guest, Mike Cavalli. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Phil. Thank you for having this opportunity to talk with you today about all these subjects, fascinating stuff. You know, this business here you talk about with Hawking, you know, it really is, I feel, a dangerous time for us as we become less connected with our bodies and the universe. You know, I mean, boy, if you haven't seen The Matrix, the film The Matrix yet, it's now time for you to go and see The Matrix, because this really, they're saying, is a documentary rather than a movie. So we have to be very vigilant with all of this as we become so detached from the universe, the source, and our own the real source of who we are from inside. So we got some stuff that we want to get through today, and I'm looking forward to sharing my knowledge with you that's come from the spirit world and all kinds of other places. So let's just roll with it.
Yeah, we definitely lost a lot of our connection to like the spirits and opening ourselves to the universe. We're more just more in tune to messing with our phones or our gadgets rather than opening ourselves up to like nature and so much more that is out there.
Yeah. I mean, I just read this morning, for example, while I was flicking through Facebook, people are going sort of crazy because YouTube was down, you know, and no one could
still
YouTube.
Is.
I mean, come on. There's so much more to us, more than YouTube. What did we do before YouTube? And this is the thing that I'm saying. Whilst the internet is absolutely great, you know, because without this, we wouldn't be talking today. This show wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
So we have to find balance. We have to find moderation. But when we start saying to ourselves, "Oh God, Facebook is down. Oh my God, you know, my computer's not working because I can't do the farm on Facebook, or YouTube is down." As humanity, as humans, we're in serious trouble when we get to that point. If we could only connect, realize that we can connect with ourselves, as you say, by opening our third eye and reconnecting, everything that we want comes to us. We've just got to do that reconnection, and there's various techniques obviously we can use to do that.
All right. So with that said, basically, how did you or tell a little bit about yourself to the listeners and how you discovered your gift?
Oh, right. Okay. Well, for me, it started very much at an early age. I used to see spirit as clearly as I would see anybody, any human person. I was only a child, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of age. I couldn't tell the difference between spirit and a regular person because they looked regular. They didn't look deceased. They didn't look anything other than what me and you look like. And I used to have two kids. They were a brother and sister that used to follow me around, and wherever I went, they'd want to be near me and play with me. And my mother thought I was going crazy, or I was looking for attention, and it was really worrying them. Catholic mum and dad, sort of, this is this is scary for them, and they kind of knocked this out of me. But I think this all started actually because I think I had a near-death experience. Well, I know I had a near-death experience, and I think this must have triggered it, where I swallowed a marble. And I actually remember seeing myself where my mother whacking my back to get the marble out. I didn't see tunnels. I was just watching myself there, and there was no fear. There was nothing there. I actually saw my brother run out the room to tell my mother that Michael swallowed a marble, and I saw all this, and I was just watching it. And obviously the marble came out, and I think this opened up a portal that allowed all this to happen. And as you do when you get older, after mum and dad knocking this out of me, I sort of grew up, and you did the teenage thing, so you put this gift to a side. I wasn't in alignment with who I really was, so I was going through the teenage. Then it comes back again. Spirit gives you the little hint, we're still here. And you go through, I start doing healing, and I had a sort of fascination for walking through cemeteries, not in anything dark. I was just interested in the, wow, this person has passed in 1823, 1795, because in the UK and in Europe, I'm in Austria at the moment as we speak, there's a lot of old graves there. So I sort of got back into it that way, and the rest is sort of history. As the old saying from The Godfather says, every time I tried getting out of this business, something pulls me back into it. And in the end, about 10, 12 years ago, I simply surrendered and said, okay, this is it. I'll do this. And I've never looked back since. My life has just grown and grown and grown and grown because I've found my purpose. I'm aligned with myself. And once you're aligned with yourself and you're fulfilled, life happens for you instead of just going through the motion. So I've been very blessed, and that's basically how it all started for me.
Yeah, with me, like I said, I've talked about it, and some of this we talked about last night with my guests, but I had my first experience around 5, or I was 5 when I had my first experience. I as you said, I saw it as just another human being. I didn't see it as a spirit. Yeah. And I was more fascinated with this. And, of course, I didn't have somebody trying to tell me it's just my imagination or it's not real. I had my mom that pretty much reinforced that ability because she saw the spirits herself. And so it wasn't like most kids today where they're told it's just their imagination, or they go out to the doctor or a psychiatrist to talk to somebody. And it's sad that happens, but I mean, if more people would be, and of course it's helping a little bit with the paranormal TV shows to help people explain it. But as we were talking before the show, more people are out of tune with everything instead of opening themselves up to discovering who they are, discovering nature, stuff like that.
And there's many reasons for this. There's many distractions for a start, but also we have, Nikola Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. And this is what the spirit world is. This is what we are. This is why we can communicate. And it's really like just fine-tuning a radio station. We've heard this many times. If we perfectly tune our radio station to 95.8, we hear that station. If we just move that dial slightly, we don't hear it, but it's still there. It hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
It's still there. And what's actually happened is, from what I can see, and we can go into many reasons why this happens, the conspiracies and all the rest of it. But, first of all, I'm giving a talk soon on the power of words and frequency. And, the international tuning for music has absolutely no significance or no harmony with the cosmos, the universe. It upsets our DNA so that our DNA is not functioning properly. And when the international tuning used to be at 432 hertz, it's in complete harmony with the universe, complete harmony with the cosmos, complete harmony with ourselves. In fact, actually, way back in the day, the Beatles used to actually record their music in 432 hertz. And that would resonate, and we could feel it. You could feel the energy going inside of us there. Now, actually, if you listen to some of the music from the 60s, it sounds out of tune because we've now become accustomed to this 440. I think it's even moved further from there, but this is detaching us. So. Yeah, it's detaching us. It's separating from the heart chakra down, from the heart chakra up. It's separates, so there's no connection. We've got the smart grids with the frequency that's coming out of there. We see it's just destroying life wherever these smart grids are, and smart this, smart that, this 5G stuff. It's really separating our consciousness, the real us, from who we really are. And so we're becoming more earthly. We're becoming more of the ego. And ego isn't a bad thing, but when it is completely detaching us from our soul, from who we are, then it becomes a danger. So the key for this is moderation. For example, I don't have no objection. We see on the bus people always messing about with their phones. That's fine. In the old days, people just used to have their head in a newspaper. But we've gone too far with it now, where we're sitting in restaurants and you see couples opposite each other and they're both texting. They're not being in the moment with each other.
They're not talking to each other. Even families at the dinner table, they're pretty much on their phones, especially kids. And we need to take time and cut off that world and open ourselves to the conversation and
absolutely,
trying to think of how to put this, but pretty much open ourselves to discovering who we are.
That's it. Rediscovering who we are, because we're really there anyway. And the evidence of this rediscovery type of thing is if you just switch off the TV, switch off the news, switch off the radio, and just be in nature just for 40 minutes, walk through nature for one day in 40 minutes, you will be surprised how you can quickly retune yourself with who you are. It really is that simple. Other techniques, apart from meditation, for example, is that I'm a sun gazer. I do sun gazing. This opens your third eye. What opens it? It decalcifies all the garbage that's been put around your third eye through these frequencies and through fluoride in your toothpaste and all this stuff. It opens you up and it allows you to see who you really are, because another aspect of all this is as we grow up through our social status, working class, middle class, or blue collar, white collar, we are programmed to believe we are somebody we're not. So we live our life as the program tells us. Okay, you're working class, just settle for a good job. Don't go above your station. You'll have a good income, blah, blah, blah. Well, that isn't who you are. That's the programming. And once we can detach ourselves from the program and say, hang on a second, this is who I am. I am not that program. I am more than this. In fact, go even further and say, I'm not Mike Cavalli. This is just a little piece of me. I'm sovereign. There's no higher authority other than myself. I'm more than Mike Cavalli. I'm more than somebody living in Europe. This is just a small aspect of who I am. And when we can step outside of that, this is where the real magic begins, and we start to see who we are. And boy, we can surprise ourselves. We really get shocked when we see who we really are and experience who we really are. It really is an eye opener, and I want to encourage this to everyone to understand. We talk about step outside the box. Understand there is no box. You are you. You are your own authority. You are whoever you want to be, and not what the program tells you that you should be.
Yeah, everybody is thinking, okay, I got to go out there, find a job or a career, and try to make a living. And we're living to work rather than work to live.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we got to get out of that mindset. Like me, I'm kind of in between. I'm working to live, but living to work too, because I got to have money coming in until I can get things going to do something that I love, which is talk radio, talking about the paranormal, open people's eyes, opening their thoughts on different things rather than them just, because I'm the kind of person that will tell people, okay, I know you got your beliefs, but think about this. Think, okay, there could be something else.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I'll put this delicately. Unfortunately, religion is a control mechanism. Spirituality teaches us to think for ourselves, be responsible for ourselves. It also teaches us that it's okay to change our view, change our opinion when new information comes to us, which is something religion doesn't teach us to do. And in fact, I think the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church has now started to accept that there are other life forms in this world other than us humans and those that exist on the planet. Because I grew up believing the program, if you like, that the Holy Roman Catholic Church said that God made us in his likeness, and anyone else is a demon, is a devil. And so the aliens, if you like, are not of Christ or not of God, and we must fear them, and we must understand that they are not benevolent, they are malevolent. The church is changing that view now, and that's okay. What I say and what you say, I'm sure, is let's think for ourselves. Let's look at this in a way without the fear, without the programming, without anybody trying to influence us. Let's do our own research. Let's, most importantly, feel. What do we feel inside us? Because this is where we got to get back to, feeling. And this is where the magic begins. When the heart and mind come together, anything can happen. Quantum science says this. When the heart and mind come together, you can have everything. Maybe that's something that we can get into as well, because I've had some great experiences of when the heart and mind come together, and what happens when the heart and mind doesn't come together as well. And you've now moved off to Texas, and things are opening up for you because you are now living where you want to be, in the space, the etheric space that you want to be. And this is how it happens. And like you said, when you're busy making a living instead of a life, it's very difficult for doors to open up to you. But we can obviously talk about how we can make a living and get doors to open up to us.
Yeah, because I mean, I would, out in California, just because of it being so fast paced, I would go outside into nature to where there's no traffic around and stuff like that. And I would just sit there and just listen to like the wind blow through the trees, the birds chirping, and just disconnect myself from everyday life just to have that peace of mind and that quietness. Yeah,
and peace of mind has to be the priority for all of us, because when we have peace of mind, then we have clarity. When we have clarity, we're in a position to resolve problems. But I'll give you this example. This I think summarize a lot of how we feel today due to the all the multitasking that we do. This is the story of a professor who walked into his lecture room and held up a glass, and everybody thought he was going to do the "this is half full or half empty" routine. But he said to him, "How heavy is this glass?" And they said, "I don't know, 4 ounces, 8 ounces." He said, "Well, it really doesn't matter." He said, "If I hold this glass up," he said, "I can talk to you. It's very light. There's no problems. But if I keep holding this glass, by 1 o'clock, it starts to get heavy and I can't focus on my daily chores because I'm trying to hold the glass. By the end of the day, by 5 o'clock, my hand is paralyzed trying to hold this glass up, and I cannot focus on anything but holding this glass up." He said, "Eventually, I've got to put the glass down." And he said, "Our problems are like this." He said, "We carry these problems throughout the day. The problem is," he said, "that glass weighed the same at the start of the day as it did at the end. It just felt heavier because we held it all day." And this is what we do. We hold on to problems all day, and they seem to get worse and worse and worse.
They just get heavier and heavier, and it weighs us down.
Exactly. So if we can find peace and serenity, it allows us the opportunity to not have these knee-jerk reactions. It allows us to separate ourselves from the programming of "I've got to do this, got to do that, this has got to be done." It allows us to just take that moment to breathe correctly and see the problem for what it is. And what it will do is it'll allow us to say, "I can deal with this now and put an end to it," or "I can't deal with this now, I'll put it to a side till the end of the day till I can deal with it," and allow us to carry on our day. Otherwise, if we have these anxieties and carrying them on, it robs us of our day. It robs us of our joy. And therefore, we become disconnected again from our inner self and from our soul. And how can we move forward emotionally, physically, career, when we've got this anxiety going on? And so this is the thing. We've got to put down our worries till we have the opportunity to deal with them.
Yeah. So Now, we talked about like stuff like meditation and joy in nature. What would you tell somebody that is going through that, where they're carrying all this, how to release themselves from that kind of stuff?
Okay. Well, sometimes meditation doesn't cut it because your mind is so wandering all over the place, low attention span, so on and so forth. And actually, one of the best ways to deal with this is to go outside and scream and let it all out. It releases so much of that nervous energy, that toxic energy. You exhaust yourself with screaming, and you just get so tired that the problem just seems to not disappear, but you don't worry, you'll deal with it. But you've just screamed all this toxic stuff out of your body. This is one way that you can deal with this. There is no magic wand with this, actually. But the other way of dealing with this is once you've done that screaming and you've got it all out, it also gives you the opportunity to be rational. Because you're exhausted, your mind can't wander anymore. It doesn't have the energy to wander anymore. So you can actually look at your problem and say, okay, this is my problem. This is how I'll deal with it. And here's the funny thing about all of this. When we become our authentic self, this is the time that we resolve problems. You know, when our back is up against the wall and we've got no choice, this is when we see who we really are. We see our strengths, we see our weaknesses, and this is where spirit can come in and help us, because we're our authentic self, we're vibrating in harmony with our guides, and it's then that we can see solutions to our problems. It's in that 11th hour, in that moment where we've got no choice. So the question is this: why wait to the 11th hour? Why don't we just deal with it if we can? If we can't, scream it out of us, or go to the gym and use a punch bag and punch it out of us. And then you will find that once we got rid of that energy, if we can just be still, not even meditate so much, but just be still and focus on calmness and serenity, we will see more often than not that the problem that we are facing will be put into perspective. Because we live with fear, don't we? And fear, you know, false event appearing real. And quite often, how many times has our fears turned out not to be anything that we needed to worry about? It's not uncommon to know that we worried unnecessarily about something. It's our conscious mind started running away with us. I'll give you this explanation, for example, how powerful the mind is. You know, if you're sitting at home alone, watching a horror movie, you give it 5 minutes and you won't feel like you're at home alone for very much longer.
Unless you're like me that loves horror movies.
Yeah, but every creak and squeak that you hear in the house comes to life now, and you start letting your imagination go wild with you.
Yeah, like, what was that? It was that the TV, or was that something in the house?
Exactly. This is the power of our mind, and you know, we can use this for our good. We talk about the law of assumption, okay, but what about the law of attraction? What about the law of assumption, the law of a certainty? This is how we can make things happen for us. And believe me, as you know, if you're watching a horror movie and you're sitting there and you're listening to every squeak and every bump, you know, you can manifest that simply by the law of assumption, the law of certainty, and eventually, you know, some sort of energy will be attracted to what you're feeling and what you're thinking. So we must be careful of our thoughts, but it's the power of mind. So
I see. I do a lot of I used to do a lot of home cleansings where people pretty much put the wrong intent into something and allowed something to come through. And I've told people, when I do this kind of work as a light worker, I go in there not only protected by a white light, but I also go in there showing no fear, because that fear is actually going to play on, like you were talking about, the movies and stuff like that, where you just going to manifest that
energy
problem. That energy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, thoughts, you know, there's the saying, if I can get this right, be careful of your thoughts because they become words. Be careful of your words because they become habits. Be careful of your habits because that becomes your character. Be careful of your character because that becomes your destiny. So, you know, thoughts and words are very, very important to us. Feeling is important to us. And, we talk about energy there that you was mentioning, when we do readings for people, because spirit is very precise. And if somebody comes to you and says, I just want a general reading, well, spirit will give you a general reading and then you'll go away disappointed. But because deep in your heart you wanted more than a general reading, you just didn't want to give too much information away, but spirit will give you they'll give you that general reading. So we must be specific with, even on the earth plane, what we want and what we feel, because what we want and what we feel we'll get. You have worrying thoughts, more worry comes back to you. You have joyful thoughts, more joy comes back to you. It's not a reward and neither is it a punishment. It is what it is. I guess that's universal law.
All right. Well, we're going to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with more with my guest, Mike Cavalli, as we talk about proof of survival beyond our physical bodies. We'll be right back.
You keep on crying to me, saying you're gonna leave. Well, now if you're gonna go, darling, I'll get the dough. Why should I change myself? Why should I change for you? No, I will not lay down. I am not chained to you. And I am what I am. Don't try to complicate this.
Are you a ghost hunter or paranormal enthusiast and need equipment to go out and investigate locations that have spirit activity? Well, GhostStop.com has all the equipment that you will need. They have a Boo Buddy ghost hunting kit for $169.95, or how about a Keep Calm and Ghost Hunt t-shirt for $19.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talking the Night website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs. Do you have a paranormal team? Are you a small-time author? Do you have a radio show that you would like to promote? Is there anything that you would like to get the word out there about but don't have a big budget? Well, Talking the Night has an opportunity for you to sponsor the show without breaking your wallet. Contact the show at talkingthenight@outlook.com or on the show's website or Facebook page for more details. Do you think you have a haunted or cursed object? Well, Nicole Gaspard does, and in her book Haunted Vessels and Cursed Objects, she talks about her continued paranormal and supernatural ghost encounters, haunted dolls, and other items that are supposed to be haunted or cursed. Pick up your copy today on Amazon.com.
Cutting away, stabbing the honesty, and all the ties that bind. Cutting away, suffer the consequence of all the times I lied. Till you follow the hole when you feel like you're all alone. You're so disconnected.
To call into the show, Skype Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now, back to Talking the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil. Okay, and we are back. I messed up when I did the commercial break for tonight. The phone lines are not open till the second hour, so save that for the second hour. So let's get back into talking about opening ourselves up to spirit and how we can do that. And we were talking during the commercial break about, now I forgot what, brain fart, I forgot what we were talking about. Now I had it for a second there and I lost it.
It was being our authentic self and not living in the fear.
Okay, yeah. I just totally forgot about it.
Well, that's okay. I mean, you see, again, we talk about the programming, and many of us, and myself included, for many, many years. So in this respect, I can speak from authority because I lived it. I lived my life how other people expected me to live. So, for example, my brother was the one that was academically, smart, and I wasn't academically smart. I was completely bored at school. I wasn't interested in physics or anything like this. Today I would be diagnosed with ADHD probably.
Yeah.
But so my expectation was to get a good job and you'll be fine, Michael. So I never lived my life how I want it to be. So when I decided, and it took me stages to do this, because I went through that fear of people laughing at you, fear of what if I mess up, the fear of everything.
Like I just did.
Yeah, the fear of everything, okay, rather than saying, okay, let me give it a shot, let me see my potential, let me get out there. Because believe me, at the end of the day, if you mess up, people won't care. They'll forget about you. They won't remember you. They're pretty much not interested. They remember the people that are successful. They remember the people that do the job. So if whatever you do, if you fail, you fail. But the point is this: are you going to live your life as somebody else wanted you to, or are you going to be who you are, that powerful person, that sovereignty that you are? Are you going to live yourself like that and become who you are? Because once you become who you are, if you're in a relationship, it will get better. If you're not in a relationship, the perfect person will be drawn to you because you're living that authentic self. But let's talk about fear and failure. What is failure? Scientists had many what we would call failures in their experiments before they found the solution.
Yeah, it didn't just happen like that.
No, and they didn't see it as failure. It was a learning curve. And what we have to do is when we start something and it doesn't work, we mustn't see it as a failure. All we do is put that down as I can tick that off of my list that doesn't work. And I tell you something that happened the other day. I started up a meet-up group because I'm in Austria at the moment, and I started up a meet-up group for when I go to London to do some spiritual work there. And so, I put this thing up, and nothing happened. No one joined. And so I said to my wife, well, look, I'll tell you what, this is going to take too much energy for me to start doing something. So when I get back from shopping, I'm going to just close that down like it, didn't happen.
Yeah.
So what happened was I now took away any resistance to it. I just allowed the process. I got back from work, from shopping, and 6 people signed up. 2 hours later, 8 people signed up. This morning, I've got 10 people signed up. I know it's not much. The point I'm saying is that this is something that I wanted to do, and I took away the resistance to it. I took away the fear. I took away the feeling of what if it doesn't work. I took all that out, and lo and behold, I lived centered within myself because knowing that's what I want to do, it starts to happen. But I had to take away the fear of failure, the fear of what if, and all that, and then just focus on this is what I want. And actually, somebody who joined the group said, I've got a room in South London. If you want to use for nothing, we can make a deal. And I thought, wow, this all comes from me just saying, okay, I'll offer no resistance to this. This wasn't a failure in the end. Actually, it was a complete success. And now let's see where this group grows.
Okay, I'm not getting anything, no hits off of it.
Yeah.
And it
just
grew.
It just grew. But I had to offer no resistance to it, to allow the process to happen, to allow an opportunity, this portal to open, to allow people to be drawn into it. And so once I took out the resistance, took out the worry, took out the fear, and all of that, and just focused on really, I would like to do this because I want to spend time there, and knowing this is my path to work spiritually, doing circles, spirit communication development, it allowed the opportunity to happen. But until that point, no, it wasn't going to happen. I had a block. And this is one of the things I want to encourage people to do. Don't have the fear. Just do what you have to do. There's an old saying, and it comes through several times in my readings. Build it and they will come. Build it and they will come. Don't worry about the detail. Spirit will take care of the detail. You just focus on what you want. And actually, don't even focus on a destination. Destination has limitations. We need certain goals, of course, but it should be never ending. It shouldn't be, I'll be successful when I achieve this or when I achieve that. No, you look at the most successful people. They don't stop. They just keep going. They just keep going. I mean, whatever success is to you. And so I found that as well. I don't set a destination. I know where I kind of want to be, and I just leave it open, and I do all these manifestation things. This might help your listeners. I put up a PDF of something, for example, my radio audience to grow by a certain amount by the end of the month. I have sold 20 books by the end of August, and I have done a talk on the power of words by the end of November. And it's always that I've already done it, not I want or I will. It's I've already done it. And then I just put that page up on the computer, because the computer is an extension of our thoughts. What we pull up goes out there into the field. And so I also have my music, which is my Gregorian chants, which is something that's very powerful for me. It might not be for you. Somebody else might like drumming mantras, but for me, the Gregorian chants is, I put that up. I put the page up of my manifestation. Those two create a cohesive field. It goes out there. The universe will come and match it. So even while I'm doing my shopping, my thoughts are going out there even when I'm not there. And this is not unusual, because advanced spirits, like my gatekeeper, for example, I'm blessed to have my gatekeeper as Joan of Arc. I've had a long history with this I loosely call her lady, because she's no longer really of human form. And I just want to say, she's not exclusive to me. She's so advanced that she's not even bilocational, because it's now all thought with her. She can speak to unlimited amount of people in various languages across the universe. This is how advanced she is. So it's not unusual, and it's not surprising that our thoughts on the internet is just an extension of our own thoughts. So again, this is why we should be careful what we put out there. But the listeners out there,
basically, like I said, the intent that you put into it is what you're going to get out of it.
Exactly. And while we're on this subject here, people have said to me, Mike, I've done the law of attraction. Asking you shall receive. It doesn't work. I get a few tidbits here and there, but nothing substantial. And I explained this to them. There's two reasons for this. First of all, that ask and you receive line that we hear from the Bible has been translated wrong, apparently. And Greg Braden, the great Greg Braden, explains all this. It should be, ask as though you have already received, and it will come to you. And this is in fact true. When we do the law of attraction, many people ask, I want a better job. I want a better relationship. Well, yeah, okay, the universe will provide that. It will keep you wanting. Very easy. It'll keep you wanting a better job by either putting you in a job where you're unhappy, or it'll keep searching you, keeping you in the wanting. What we must apply is the law of assumption, the law of a certainty, and that is in your mind, just like the horror film example we gave at the beginning. In your mind, if it's the job, you must picture yourself as though it's already done. You're already in the office. You're doing the paperwork. You can hear the typing of the computer. You're in the the bar area, the canteen, and you can smell the coffee, chatting with people. You've got to, first of all, see that and then feel it. You must feel it. And when you can feel it, it will come to you. But if you're shooting for something, and this is the other thing, outside of your reality, for example, if you've lived in the lack of money all your life, and you say, okay, I'm ready for more money, I really am, and you're shooting for, say, a $35,000 a year job and for a $200,000 a year job, well, you can see it in your mind, but can you really feel what it's like to have that amount of money, or say $1 million? Most of us can't. We can see it, but we can't feel the power of what it's like to have that kind of money. So the universe, it will take longer. And the guides, it will take longer to pull that in. Better to shoot in stages. 35,000 a year job, I'll shoot for 60,000, and then I'll shoot for 90,000, and you build up and you build up. This will be the quickest way to do it, because I certainly can't know what it feels like to have $1 million or $2 million in the bank. I can see it and I can picture myself spending it, but I can't feel it. I can't feel that power. So it's unlikely that's going to happen to me. Having said all that, I've got everything I want at the moment. And so this is something that I have to work on as well.
See, like me with my show, I would love to get it to where I'm like making $30,000 or more a month, but from advertiser revenue and stuff like that, of course, a lot of that will go back into the show. But I got to realize that it's not going to happen overnight. I got to take those baby steps to get to that point. And like I was talking with my guest last night, Debbie Anderson, which I was talking about how I want to, or I would do readings for people and stuff like that, and just more or less help other people rather than put it towards like thinking, okay, I need to do this for money. I was thinking more or less, let me do this and do it for them so that way I can put a smile on their face or make them feel what they want to know and stuff like that, and help other people rather than think, okay, I can make a living off of this. I wanted to do that to help. And that's kind of helped me get to where I am today. Is I started off with that small step, and it grew.
Yeah, and this is one of the other keys. Gratitude and thankfulness is up there with the love energy, the creative energy. That's the energy of the source, what God, the universe, whatever deity you choose. Creativity, joy, gratitude is up there with the highest. The fear, the worry and evil and all that is down there with the low stuff. And when you're in service to people, as you know, when you're truly in service to people and you are doing things simply because you want to do it, again, you open up a portal. It's that you're working on a very, very high vibration, and things come to you. It is recognized, and so more of the same comes back to you. And then the money comes, and it's okay to say, well, look, I need to earn a living. Spirit knows this. I need to earn some money. But if your objective is to focus on money, then it's unlikely that you're going to get it very, very quickly unless you become tyrannical and don't care who you tread on and who you step on. But when you're in service like you are, like I do, we don't even think about the money because we know we need it. Spirit knows we need it. The universe knows we need it. And we just apply what we have to do, and opportunities come to us to give us that financial support. The trick is we got to be open to that possibility, and we still got to work at it. It ain't a meal ticket. We still have to work, but opportunities come our way. And so being in service, and there's that other old saying, isn't there? If you do something for somebody and expect something back, it isn't charitable, it isn't a good cause, it's a contract you've made. So we must be very clear that when we decide to do something, we do it without reward. I think it's okay to expect a thank you. But
you do it to help other people or let's see how to put it. Or like during Christmas, you'll give somebody a gift, but if you expect that gift or another gift in return, that's not really given. It's just
it's a contract.
Yeah, and I do it to more or less help other people, and I don't expect anything in return because I know I'm going to use that higher vibration to make other people feel happy or enjoy what they're listening to, what they're doing, and stuff like that. And that brings joy to me. Eventually, it's not going to, I'm not expecting that back, but that's what it gives back to me.
That's right. And that is the law of attraction. And so you're living in the now, in the moment, right now, because that's where you're happy. If you wasn't happy, when people face many problems, they're not in the now. Okay, they won't go into a new relationship because of what happened in the past. So their future is stifled. And what we got to do is do something today that our future self will be thankful for, but at the same time being in the now. And that is, in your case, you have found something that you really want to do. You do it without fear, without reward. It's something you want to do, but it makes you whole. It makes you centered. Therefore, your life starts to move forward in the way that you want it to do. And so it does get back to that fear business. But we must be in the now, and many of us are not in the now anymore. We spoke about this off air, that couples are in a restaurant, they're sitting opposite each other and they're texting, when they should be talking to each other. Communication. It's being in that very moment. And when we're in that very moment, again, this helps to create this cohesive field. If we're thinking about something in the future all the time, which is also necessary to a degree, but if we're always there, I'll do this when I do this, I'll be happy when I get that, or I'm not going to do this because of something that happened in the past. Well, we're never going to get anywhere, and we just got blockage after blockage after blockage, and we just won't move forward. So we have to be in the now, and we have to take that leap of faith at some point, because as we mentioned, there's nothing to fear. It's only our self-doubt, the programming of limitation that's been taught ourselves. So let's step out of all that. Let's be who we are. Let's be who we should be, and watch the magic unfold with all of this. It really is such an amazing concept that we are the creators of our own destiny, no matter what education, no matter what schooling, no matter what religion has taught us. We are the masters of our own destiny. The power is within us. And when we truly don't care what anybody thinks about us, and I don't mean in an arrogant way, just in a way of being fearless, when we truly don't care what people think about us and we go about our business to fulfill our lives, helping other people, boy, things change for you at a very, very, very fast rate.
Yeah, well, you were talking about relationships, and there was a time in my life where I went through a ton of relationship, and it would end badly, not because of my fault. They would either cheat on me or lie on me or something like that, and I was like, okay, I was feeling down for quite a while, and then I eventually got back up to where I went back at it, and it happened again. And it just kept repeating over and over. Well, I finally got to the point, where it happened for the last time, and I said, okay, that point in my life is over. It happened. I'll learn from it and be like, rather than cry over it, I'm like, now,
Yeah.
next, you
Yeah.
had your chance.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's it. Exactly. That's it. And we take these experiences as learning experience. Once we get over the hurt, of course there's going to be hurt, but once we get over it and we understand that, you know, we've got to raise our self-esteem and understand that, you know, this is just part of the journey of life. Okay. And we can break this cycle no matter what it is we're going through. If we're having repeated cycles, we can break this. And Joe Dispenza talks about breaking the habit of being yourself. So you have to decide. I think Abraham Hicks talks about this also. You have to decide who in the future you want to be. Let's say you want to be a successful medium, you want to be a successful radio host, presenter, you want to have a successful business. Then right now, in this moment, you have to behave like you are that person. You have to learn the habits of successful people in that field of whatever you're doing. And it will require breaking the habit of being yourself, because if you're seeing repeated cycles throughout your life, it's something that you are repeating. And Einstein said the definition of madness is doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. You know, you turn the light on, it's always going to turn on the switch. Nothing else is going to happen, and you're crazy if you think it is. And so once we can break that habit of being ourselves and start living how we want to be, you want to be a millionaire, then you walk, talk, behave like a millionaire. Behave like you're limitless in terms of finance. You don't have to go spending money, but in your mind, you can see it. You can walk into a car showroom and look at a car and say, oh, I fancy buying that, and go for a test drive. Or just look at it, feel the leather, like we said, smell the freshness. Behave how a millionaire would behave if you want to become a millionaire. And so we have to break that cycle of being in the lack of. Otherwise, you'll never reach where you need to be.
Yeah, you'll never reach your full potential.
Exactly. And again, this is something that we talk about being fearless, stepping out of the program of who we are. Just be who you have to be, and you'll start to reconnect with your higher self, your inner soul, your spirit guides or guides. Some people have one, some people have several. And you'll start to connect with them. You'll start to hear them, and you might not hear them in your voice, but you'll hear them with a burning, a crying inside. And, you know, it's in that stomach area and the heart area. You'll start to hear what your soul is calling you to do. And this will happen when you break the habit of being yourself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so much out there in the world today where everybody's focused on things in the past or thinking about the future. I want to do this, want to do that.
Yeah.
Well, how you got to think, how am I going to get there? What am I going to do to get to that point?
Exactly.
And we're not thinking about that. We're thinking, okay, I just want this. I want it handed to me, rather than, okay, how am I going to get there?
Yeah, that's right. And nothing is going to get handed to us. In this world, the only guarantee are two things. You're going to be taxed to death, and we ain't getting out of here alive. So we may as well live in the moment and live how we want to be. And as I say, it isn't a meal ticket. So when your time comes and you're drawing close to the transition into the next world, do you want to look back and say, well, at least I tried. It may not have worked. At least I tried. Or do you want to say, damn it, I wish I had more time because I wish I tried that. And everyone will want to say, well, at least I tried. And that is a much nicer feeling going into the next world than, damn it, I wish I had more time now. So why don't we do this now? Why don't we actually, for all your listeners here today or this evening, tomorrow morning, wake up, let it be a new day, a new beginning, new opportunities, a new outlook on life. Those people that push your buttons, say to yourself before you make that knee-jerk reaction, I'm not going to be pushed today. I'm not going to react today. I'm going to be in myself, in the now, in my own thoughts, in my own consciousness. I can't be distracted from my purpose or what I want to do. Of course, we have to interact with people, but let's not allow other people's emotions, other people's negativity or disruptions to be put onto us, because remember, it's not a reflection of who you are, it's a reflection of who they are, and they might be going through some really troubling times. They might love your energy, the light around you, and just want to take it, and they do this by being negative and putting you down, making you less powerless, less power, very powerless, and then they can draw that energy. They do this at a subconscious level most of the time.
Basically, they basically want to be. They're most likely doing this because they want that energy. They want to feel that you're feeling, and they're not getting it. So they got to find other ways to. Okay, I'm not feeling the way this person is, so I'm going to put them down to my level rather than let that person's positivity and everything like that boost me up.
That's right. And the lesson we can take from this also is that sometimes, it's like sometimes you can't discuss things with people, not because you're better than them or greater than them. It's like sometimes when you're trying to explain, for example, if you're a computer genius, how can you explain to a 6-year-old child how the computer functions? They're not going to be able to understand it. And sometimes there's no point arguing with somebody because they're not at that awareness level of you are. They're not awakened as much as you. Vibrationally, on certain arguments, they're nowhere near your vibrational level. So you're better off just letting it be. We get back to worry attracts worry, joy attracts joy. And if you're with somebody that argues and you argue more, you're going to get more arguments back. It's okay to not argue and make your point with everyone. If you throw stones at dogs that bark at you, you'll never reach where you need to get to because everybody will be pushing at you. We just got to go through it all. Just let it all pass us by. It's not worth worrying about. Why do we focus on letting other people's emotions, destroy us?
I hate to cut you off, but we're at the break at the top of the hour. We'll be back with more with my guest, Mike Cavalli, as we talk about this and so much more. And, of course, in the second hour, we'll get into his book, Proof of Survival. We'll be right back.
Do you have a talk radio, Facebook Live, or YouTube show and would like guests for your show but don't know where to go to get them? Well, go to radioguestlist.com and sign up today. They have all different experts in different fields and you can find the ones that are just right for your show. That's radioguestlist.com. Sign up today. It's free.
If you like finding out about different things in the paranormal field, such as ghost stories, haunted locations, UFOs, cryptozoology, and much more, well, check out Into the Paranormal on YouTube and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Videos are posted once a week. To read about the story of Giant Rock and see the trailer of Giant Rock the movie, just click on the link on the Talk of the Night website and it'll take you right there. GiantRockTheMovie.com.
Still as a breeze, a river flowing deep. Don't wanna leave the air you breathe. Living me dreams when I think of you and me. Don't wanna leave the world you see, and I will hold you down if love is still alive. It's unforgiving.
To call into the show, Skype Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now, back to Talk in the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil. Okay, we're back into the show with my guest, Mike Cavalli. And now the phone lines are open, so if you want to call into the show, ask my guest a question. Or if you're listening on Spreaker, the chat room is open. There's a little chat bubble on the bar that plays tonight's show. Click on that little bubble and you can pop in the chat, say hi, ask a question in the chat if you don't want to come on there and call in and ask. So feel free to do that. So during the break, we were talking about being in the here and now and stuff like that, and doing what living. I swear, so many things go on in my head that it's like, and then of course I got the spirits going. Okay, let's give a message here. No, it's not that time. I'll do a reading later.
Yeah, they can be a bit pushy.
So, I mean, it just kind of distracts me. But we got to get away from that distraction sometimes and say, okay, I'll get to you later.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I do, I have my kind of ritual for when I do spirit work to let them know I'm beginning and I let them know I'm ending. So whenever I do anything like this or readings, absolutely, my ritual is before I do a meditation, which is I do all the time, I'll have a shower and a shave. This is even if I don't need a shave, it's just a ritual. This lets them know, and I tell them I'm beginning. And this is my ritual. This is how I start. And so I have this shower and I start getting myself into this joy, this love. I start to release problems from the day that go by. And so I have the shower and I do everything. You know, it's also cleanliness, respecting spirit. This is just my thing. It may not work for anyone else. This is just me. And so then I do my meditation and then I do whatever it has to do. But then I finish. I blow my candle out. I say a thank you prayer or mantra, and then spirit leaves me alone. And so we get back to, you know, be careful with our thoughts and our words, because spirit is impeccable with their thoughts and their words. Someone asks for a general reading, you get it. You ask for something specific, that it's quite likely that you are going to get that. But the point is, it's the intention, letting spirit know this is where I start, this is where I finish, and this helps me, therefore, to go about the rest of my day, because at the end of the day, we do live on the earth plane, and we do have to get through all the stuff on the earth plane. So there's a time and a place for everything. God forbid I was permanently open, because you'd be able to sit on a bus and start feeling people's energy, feeling if they're happy, they're sad. And I mean, I do it occasionally, actually, just to keep myself tuned, as it were. But no, generally speaking, no. When I'm on the earth plane, I'm on the earth plane. Like when we finish today, I've got some stuff that I need to do, which is very earthly, very human. And then I'll open myself up later, because I've got my development circle later this evening. So that's how I work. I know one or two other mediums that work very, very similar. The important thing is they have an indication for spirit when I'm ready to work and when we're stopping work. And I think that's a wise policy to have, actually.
I just let the spirits know, okay, you had your chance, now it's my time.
Yeah, yeah. That's well, yeah. I mean, you've stated intention, and that works for you, and whatever works, because in the spirit world, it's a different world to us. These earthly laws and rules and regulations don't apply, so there is no one size fits all. For everyone. Some people have one guide for everything, others have various guides. Other people, guides come to them in various times. Other people say, okay, just come to me whenever you want. I don't like that. You presumably don't want that because you just say enough, that's it. Or, okay, guys, I'm ready. Well, that state in intention, use very precise, very specific. Spirit hears it. And they say, okay, well, let's go. Let's get to work, boys. And they do. And if you don't say, okay, I've had enough, they'll just continue working with you until you do say enough. So it's very important to close down. No different from when we're at work. We come home from work and we switch off. Finished. Work's done till the next day. Same thing.
Yeah, or like somebody will come home and carry it on their work day, and it just keeps going and perpetuate. If I can pronounce the word, but it just keeps going, and you go on and think about the work day, and it just causes problems rather than shut yourself off and say, okay, that was there, this is here, let's take time to relax.
Living in the now and not allowing that lesson, from the professor in the lecture room holding the glass to manifest, to take place, because that will destroy us. And if we want to communicate with spirit, and let me say at this point, what we do is not an elitist thing. Everybody has this gift to be able to communicate with their soul, with the spirit world, with the source. We are not separate from the source, from God, as everybody, as religion teaches us. We are part of it. And this is what makes us the most powerful individuals within our own power. We are part of the source, not separate from the source. And if we would realize this and learn to tune into this, and it will take a lifetime's work, because we have been, once again, programmed to believe how limitless and powerless we are through religion and education. But we are part of the source. We are part of the universe, part of the cosmos. We are part of everything. And this flesh and blood that we see is just a minuscule part of it. But as we say, we have to work with this, don't we? Because this is what keeps us grounded here on the earth plane.
Now, you talked about religion, and I'm going to give an example, and I've explained it before, but there's always new listeners that might not know about this. But as far as me goes, I'm Wiccan. I practice witchcraft. I practice and stuff like that. And there's the religion, those Bible thumpers, as I like to call them, that are like, okay, you practice witchcraft. You're evil. You're a devil worshiper. It's like, do you not understand that that's not what I'm about? No. But they're conditioned to believe that from the Christian or Catholic faith, that people that are not their faith are bad. And it's simply not true. I mean, I've told these people before when I've mentioned I'm Wiccan and practice witchcraft that if you would actually take time to learn about Wicca and stuff like that, you'll find out that Wiccans, we don't believe in the devil. We don't believe in heaven or hell. We believe in a higher plane of existence or a lower plane of existence. Yeah. But we don't believe in the traditional faith. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is giving people a different way of thinking about things.
Perspective.
Like another example is I told people that I do ghost investigations that to these people, and they're like, there's no such thing as ghosts or spirits, and then I come back at them not as like a condescending thing, like you're wrong or anything like that. I'm like, well, doesn't the Bible say that Jesus was the Holy Spirit or Holy Ghost? That's spirit or ghost right there.
Yeah.
And it makes them open up their minds.
That's right. And unfortunately, with some people, we spoke about, when we argue on a higher vibration to somebody on a lower vibration, there's some people that won't accept it through fear or whatever it is. There's some people that won't, and that's okay. All we can do is put it out there, and that's it. It's then up to the person to either accept the message, if you like, or accept what we're saying, or not. We can't. We simply can't force it upon you. In much the same way, prayer does not work if the person you're giving that prayer to doesn't believe it. It just won't work. It takes belief. It takes all these things that we spoke about, to have the feeling and the belief and the power of the word. Christ, if we're going to talk about Christ, actually said, to coin a phrase, Jesus, you can do what I'm doing and even better. I mean, the power of Christ was, for some reason, that he didn't have to do anything. They just believed that he could do it, and that was sufficient. So your faith has made you well. I mean, there's it's closed down now, the medicineless hospital in China, where we see 3 Tibetan monks who have the feeling of being whole, have the feeling of being one with themselves. We see it on the computer screen. We see an inoperable tumor being removed in under 3 minutes, and all they're doing is transferring that feeling of wholeness and love onto that person so that they feel whole and one. And under those conditions, the frequency of the tumor cannot exist, so it slowly disappears. They chant a phrase which means, basically translated, already done, already healed. There's no power in the words. It just helps them, reinforces the power of feeling one and feeling whole. And this isn't so crazy. We see a baby crying, and the loving mother picks the baby up, and the baby stops crying. All she's done is just produced this overwhelming feeling of love and transferred that energy to the baby, and the baby's comforted and stops crying. So this again, look, this is all frequency. It's all spirit. Spirit is frequency. We're frequency, energy and vibration. It's what the universe is made of, and we're just the physical manifestation of this of all these numbers, basically. So so there we are. So I've sort of gone astray there a little bit, and now I've lost track of where we were.
That's all right. I got an actual question from the chat room. That says, is it better to write or actually speak the manifestations in your life?
Yeah. I have found, and many other people have found, it's better to say it, because whilst it's true that words, let's talk about words, the written word of, say, mother. When we think of the word mother, there's hundreds of thousands of years for most of us, the word mother, programmed into that word when it's written down, is just love and joy and all the rest of it. The same way, if we was to write down the word hate, we would also have the energy of knowing what hate means, and we don't feel good when we do this. And there's been actually experiments which we can talk about, actually, from Dr. Emoto, Messages from Water. But the most powerful way is to say it, to express it. The word comes out, and once we express the thought, it becomes a word. We create a cohesive field. Quantum science has said this. Once we create a cohesive field, the universe goes out and matches it, and will bring it back to you. So be careful what you tell yourself. The universe is listening. But sometimes, and as I said, I do this. When I go about my day, I have the manifestation chart on my computer in a PDF. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be a picture with what you want, and always put down that it's already done. Okay, I have my perfect job by the end of, and whatever month you want, but be realistic. Put on some music if you choose that means something to you. But while you're out and you're focusing on everything else, your thought is there. But I would start off also at the start of the day reading out that manifestation. This is the most powerful way of doing it. And hopefully we'll get into about the cohesive field and collective consciousness, how powerful that is, and how we can change our lives in the collective consciousness and global events through collective consciousness. But absolutely speak it out. And spirit can hear you much clearer when you speak something out very, very clearly. It's much better. And it also gives us much clearer definition of what we want. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay. And now you talked about collective consciousness.
Yeah.
How can that help us and change the world?
Okay. It's a fabulous concept, and it was discovered around about 1967 by the Maharishi. This was the guy who the Beatles came to visit in 1967. And he found that if you take 1% of the square root of a given population and focus on a single benevolent outcome, it has to happen. Quantum science has shown this to be the case as well. So before I go into that, you want better water in your municipality, collective consciousness. You want better air in your society, collective consciousness. You've got a troubled neighborhood that's violent, collective consciousness. And it was proven, I don't know the exact figures, but it was over a 5-week period, and they started off with 800 trained people meditating on peace in the Washington area, at the time was the crime capital of America, I think. And they built up the numbers to, I think it was 3,000 over a 5-week period. And they focused on peace in Washington. And the mayor said the only way there's going to be a drop in crime is if there's 10 foot of snow, something like this. Well, crime dropped by 23% simply by focusing on not the end of crime or the end of violence, but focusing on peace in that area. They'd done it in Lebanon with the war in Lebanon, and they focused on just peace, and they found 73% drop in deaths in war-related incidents. The antagonists, 60% increase of them getting together and talking, all scientifically proven. There's the Rhode Island experiment where they focused on better quality of life in Rhode Island. It was over a long period of time, and when the meditations and the focusing stopped, it was true that the quality of life dropped, but it didn't go back to its original place. It remained at about 60% higher than the original. So if we got just in a street, for example, and we've got noisy neighbours in a street and they won't listen, if we just get, groups of people in that neighbourhood to focus all together on peace and quiet and tranquility in that neighbourhood, then it has to happen. It will happen. We're sending out a cohesive field to the universe. And what actually happens is they found there's this thing called the super resonance effect, that people in the immediate area, just outside of the focus point, get the benefit as well. This is a win-win situation because we can bypass our lawmakers, people that are trying to legislate for fluoride in the water, for example. If the people in that community will focus on pure clean water, not eradicating fluoride, pure clean water, something will happen that the law won't get passed, or a minuscule amount of fluoride will get put in the water. Something will happen that will change it, because it's the will of the masses, the will of many, many people. This is what collective consciousness is. And actually, when we see the super churches, when there's 10,000 people in there and they do all this healing and people are getting off their wheelchairs and walking, it is the will of the people, the desire for this person to walk. Collective consciousness in the moment is actually achieving that. And this is where we start to understand the concept of what a miracle actually is.
Yeah, well, I think like George Norrie and I believe Art Bell from Coast to Coast AM have tried like collective consciousness with their audience and tried to change something by having everybody focus on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fast food, as it were. It takes time to deal with this. But if you get enough numbers, there is more than enough evidence to show that it works. We have got to not be lazy, not be frightened, not be scared. Do the evidence, check the evidence. I mean, Google in Washington meditation crime drop or Lebanon peace meditation, and see what comes up, and see that the science has shown that this actually works. And we have to be courageous enough to get together and not be frightened of people saying, oh, here he goes again, you know, he's being silly. We got to get together in the numbers and make this happen. We can make this happen. And this, you know, the power as a collective consciousness is really something amazing.
Yeah, but we also have to not try and think about trying to change the whole world, but take baby steps, if you will, and focus on like the local area or a local issue or something like that, and not go all around the world and try and change everybody's way of thinking of one thing, because then you get the like the quote, like the Star Trek episodes was the Borg network. I mean, you don't want everybody thinking the same thing. You want people to have individuality, but you also want them to open up themselves to something that is close to them in their community and everything that.
Exactly. And you know, the truth is the truth. My truth is not your truth. And so what we focus on, and that's why we focus on the most benevolent outcome. And I mean, everybody wants clean water, pure water. Everybody wants that. So I don't see there's no harm in forcing anything on them, because if people don't want clean water, then they can go and drink bottled water full of fluoride and chlorine and God knows what else. This works very well for the benefit of everybody. And okay, sometimes some people might not see the benefit, but it doesn't change the fact that they will benefit. And we're not preventing people from making life choices. That's most important. Quite right, like you say, because of that episodes we see with the Borg, you will be assimilated. You know, no, that's not what we want. That's what's trying to happen with the dark side, but that's not what we want. And that's why we must raise our consciousness, get together. So it really works only for the benefit of all.
All right, so before we go into the last break of the night, I have a question in the chat. How can we draw out negative energy out of us, and what is the best way to go about it?
Oh, there's so many ways we can do this. First of all, the thought that comes straight to my mind is be impeccable with our words, know exactly what we want, focus on the positive, focus on what we do want, not what we don't want, focus on where we need to be and not what's happened to us in the past. We also need to be in the now, be mindful of the foods that we eat as well, because if we're putting toxins into our body, this disrupts the neurocircuits in our brain. If we can find time to meditate. If we've got negative energy coming at us, then we can put a cloak of protection around ourselves that stops them getting to us. And if it's really bad, we can put mirrors on this protective cloak that whatever is being projected to you gets projected back. I think you'd probably know more about that from your studies with the Wiccan thing. So there's these things we can do. The most single important thing to do is not have any fear over it and just say, you do not affect me. I am in the truth. I am in the light. And then it will disappear because it cannot feed off of anything other than fear and worry. And it really, really is that simple.
All right, so we're going to take a last break of the night here in a second. But when we come back, we're going to be talking. I want to talk about your book, Proof of Survival, and everything like that. So we'll be right back with my guest, Mike Cavalli, as we talk about Proof of Survival.
Someone you're not, even when you think it's already gone, even when you're scared, never look back. You know what you need, you know where to go. Remember, go on, no fear, go on until the end. Go on, no fear, and don't look away. You don't want a sad song, a bad song, to keep you restrained every day. You just want a fun song, a fun song to keep. Motivation. You can do more and better. Motivation, you can get what you deserve.
Just for Talking the Night listeners, go to vibrationalenergy.com and mention Talking the Night to receive a 10% discount off either a 30-minute intuitive spiritual reading or spiritual clarity session via phone or Skype with Debbie Anderson. Just click on the link on the Talking the Night website. If you would like the book, Proof of Survival by Mike Cavalli, which is available on Lulu.com and Amazon.com, go to Facebook.com/Sacred Circle Community and mention Talking the Night to get free shipping on the book. Just click on the link on the Talking the Night website. When you go to JamesGordonJr.com and subscribe to his free monthly Mind Power and Money Enzyme, you will get a free PDF copy of his book, Attract Money Forever. Just click on the link on the Talking the Night website for more information.
People gonna keep on talking about me.
Let's go. I really got the feeling today that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about. Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go! Let's go! Nothing's gonna stop us.
To call into the show, Skype Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now, back to Talking the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil. Okay, and we are back in the last half hour of the show, and the phone lines are open. So if you got a question for my guest, feel free to call in or pop in the chat on Spreaker and ask the question. I've already asked a couple of questions from the listeners inside the chat. So feel free to ask away. Either my guest, Mike, or myself might be able to answer it. So let's get into your book, Proof of Survival. And this is a new book, correct, since the last time we talked?
That's correct, yep. This is, I think it was round about July or August. I actually eventually got it published. So yeah, it's a new book, and it's well, if you're looking to develop your gifts, which we all have, to communicate with spirit, and therefore helping us to get through our life and help others, this is a guide for it, no pun intended. The reason I say a guide is because, you know, when you communicate with spirit, how they communicate with you changes so quickly that the information I've got in that book on how they communicated me with certain things, they don't do anymore. But the idea is just to give people an idea of the thinking process, the thought process on how they can connect with spirit. And so that's what that book is about. There's no bells and whistles with this. There's no endless pages of examples because I just feel then that can get monotonous. This gets down to the meat and bones of what it's all about, and from there, however you choose to develop your gift, here you've got the foundation and a working model of how you can go forward. So that's what the book is about, basically.
Yeah, and of course I've explained it before, where of course everybody's got that gift and everything, as you said earlier in the show, but everybody's also got a different way of trying to explain it and everything like that. Like me, just for a moment here, I want to mention, if you got small kids, I've mentioned this many times, I did this yesterday. If you got small kids, have them tune off the radio or step out of the room, because I just don't want to destroy their perception. But the way I describe people's ability to see spirits and communicate with them is I use the Santa Claus effect, or I coined the term the Santa Claus effect, because the way it works is when we're young, we're told Santa Claus is real. As we grow older, we're told that he's not real. Same thing with the spirit world. When we're young, our minds are not corrupted by the everyday world, and we're able to perceive the spirit world. We're able to communicate with them. And as we get older, a lot of us are told that it's not real. It's just our imagination. It's an imaginary friend, things like that. And that ability gets pushed from our third eye, the front of our cortex mind, and to the deepest part of our subconscious. It's still there, but it's locked away, and we got to find a way to unlock that ability.
Yeah. And I mean, that analysis is absolutely perfect. It's through society as we get older, all the challenges that we find, you know, we're struggling to make a living, to feed our children, pay our debts and the mortgage and all the rest of it, that we focus purely on the earthly things. But to communicate with spirit, we need to find the time to, first of all, if our mind is able to be still enough that we don't need to go screaming and shouting, as we mentioned earlier, but we need to meditate and open up our energy centers. And meditation, you know, it doesn't matter. You're better off doing 10 minutes correctly than trying to sit there for 30 minutes, because your mind will wander. It's trained to wander. And if it does wander, all you do is bring it back. And what you must do to communicate with spirit, I mean, I know some people that don't meditate. They just open up and go, there we are, that's it. I need to. Most people will find that they'll need to. And you'll start to feel different sensations around your body. Your knees might start to get cold. Your hands might get cold. You'll get tingling sensation on the crown, around the forehead. You might feel like cobwebs. This is an indication that your vibration that you've been living on the earth plane is now raising. It's rising, and spirit is able just to lower their vibration enough to match it. Sometimes it's complete, like the radio station that we spoke about, where it's perfectly tuned, there's perfectly harmony. Most of the time, it's slightly dissonant. So we hear the equivalent of white noise and so on, but we can still hear the essence of what's coming through. So if we meditate and set out the intention in meditation to say, okay, please come forward, give me what information you have. And then the trick is to offer no resistance to what comes through, no matter how bizarre it sounds or seems. Offer no resistance, because when we do our circles and we do workshops, we always say, leave your logic at the door and collect it on the way out, because you're now dealing with the spirit world and they have to give us information, and they can only give us information that we already have in our brain. So if we don't have the knowledge, they have to give it to us in a way that we can decipher it. And this is where we have this situation where, for example, I'm giving readings to people in Germany or Austria or Denmark, and I've got somebody coming through who's from the spirit world and has got a name that I don't know. They'll either give me the name in English or will try and describe the person's name pictorially, so that I was
about to say that sometimes it's not words that come through, but as actually pictures or symbols.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably the most common way, and people will find that they will find their foundation way of connecting, and it's usually clairvoyance, which is the seeing. Most of the time it will be in their mind's eye, and they will very soon learn the difference between what they're seeing from spirit and what their imagination is. And this is why meditation is important, I feel, so that they can learn to separate, so they can empty their mind a little bit, so that spirit will allow to pour information in. And one clue that you always have is that the information will come back. You'll get this information pictorially, and then you just say to yourself, okay, I'm not sure if that's me or spirit, so you move on with your thought in the meditations, and it'll come back again and again. Then you'll know it's spirit. And it is a trusting thing, and we will make mistakes. It's not an absolute science.
Yeah.
But boy, what a wonderful thing that we can do this anyway,
Yeah,
so
I was going to say, like I was talking about with my guest last night, that no psychic, no medium, clairvoyant, clairaudient, whatever, is ever going to be 100% right. Because if we were, we'd be winning the lottery every single time, and it just ain't going to happen. You have to take that with a grain of salt and understand we're just getting the messages, or if it's like a picture or a symbol, it's up to us to interpret that. And if it means something to you, I mean, validate it and let us know, okay, that was something to me, or it wasn't anything for me. But, of course, don't say just because we got something wrong, we're fake or something.
Yeah.
No, it's just that we're never going to be 100% right. We just get what we get coming through the spirit world.
Exactly. And we don't get 100% right here on the earth plane with things, when we can hear what people are seeing and doing clearly to us. It's just miraculous, actually, that we can do this anyway. And the good news is more and more people are awakening to this process. They're beginning to feel inside themselves, I think I've got something here. I think there's something here. And they're beginning to trust this process. I have been told from my guides that the veil that separates these two worlds has become thinner, allowing spirit to guide us more. And the emphasis is on guidance, not tell us or force us, but to guide us to where we need to be. The veil has become thinner. And because the veil has become thinner, we're able to raise our consciousness. Now, the question is, what come first, the chicken or the egg? It doesn't really matter. We're evolving as humans. Spirit has got the permission to lift the veil. And I've also been told, we spoke about Star Trek earlier, and the Prime Directive. They talk about that they can't interfere with the natural evolution of society on that planet. I've been told that the Prime Directive has been lifted and they have been interfering. I have been told that they have prevented catastrophe on the Earth plane with some of our leaders, and will continue to do this. I want to assure people that we are in safe hands with our brothers and sisters in the spirit world, and nothing is going to happen to this planet. We're going to go forward, and the more we can lift ourselves and communicate with spirit and understand this, the more we'll be able to see this and communicate with our loved ones and understand that they haven't actually gone anywhere. They are here with us. They're just out of our bandwidth now of seeing and hearing.
They're just tuned off of that one dial on the radio station.
That's right. And if we tune in now, start to tune in, we can hear them, we can see them, and many people do this. They'll be cooking and they'll look up and they'll see their loved one momentarily, and they think, oh, blimey, that was my imagination. No, actually, it wasn't. But what's happened is that you surprised yourself so much that you went out of that bandwidth straight away, so you could no longer see them. They hadn't gone anywhere. They were always there. And likewise with hearing, they're always there when you think, oh, blimey, I thought that was Mum. It sounded like, and you think there's nothing there, but no, because you had no resistance, because you didn't expect, because you didn't have any expectation, you opened yourself up to that frequency and allowed it to come in. And this is happening more and more and more and more now, and it's something we should embrace.
Okay, so we got another question. Does having trauma in life open or help to open up the third eye?
I would say many things open up the third eye. I would say yes, I think to a degree, but I think what's more important about trauma in life is layers of joy, layers of worry, layers of anxiety, layers of pain, and trauma is one layer of that. And I think if we can open ourselves up and face that trauma, we are actually therefore opening ourselves up to a higher consciousness state. Therefore, our third eye does open up. But if we are living in trauma and not allowing to experience and express that trauma openly, in other words, the shadow work, then I don't think the third eye will open up as much as enough to communicate with the other world. Some people it may, again, there's no hard and fast rules, but I think with this trauma business, if we open ourselves up and accept the pain and work ourselves through it, then it will raise our consciousness. As a consequence, the third eye does open up.
Now, some people, I've read reports where some people that have had traumatic experiences, near-death experiences and stuff like that, it actually it opens themselves up a little more to the spirit world, especially with near-death experiences, because they're, for a brief moment, on that other side, that higher plane of existence, that other worldly plane.
If anyone's interested, they should go to YouTube and type in IANDS, IANDS, International Association of Near-Death Studies. And there are, I think, hundreds of talks. I must have listened to them all. And everybody that comes back from a near-death experience, two things happen to them. They have no more fear of death. They understand it's a continuum. They have no more fear in life. They still have problems, but they deal with them. It releases the worries and the fears, and they do get to experience many things. Some people experience a state of knowing everything that was, is, and will be all at the same time. And this is what happens. And yes, people come back and they become more intuitive. And sometimes they simply go over to the other side, and spirit gives them the message, you have to go back. Even though they don't want, you have to go back. We've just brought you here to show you what you must do on the earth plane. And the love is so immense over there that some people who have had children, babies, said, I do not want to go back. My kids will be taken care of. The love on the other side was overwhelming. And Spirit has said, no, you must go back. You must look after your children. And this is what your path should be. This is what you must do. And they come back and they all live fulfilling lives. And you know, people say, boy, you've changed. And they say, I know, thank you. And because it really is a life-changing experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, like me, I've never had a near-death experience, but I've had a friend that had one. But he explained that he was outside of his body and standing over his body as the paramedics were working on him to try and bring him back to this world. And he could hear everything going on around him, but he was also hearing other things from that other plane. Yeah. And that's what I tend to hear from people that have near-death experiences.
Yeah, and you know, this again is not an uncommon thing, and we kind of do it here at a different level here. We call it multitasking. We've got the telly on, watching the TV, and we're doing stuff on the computer. We managed to listen to the TV program and still type the letter on the computer. So can you imagine when we're free of that earthly limitation, we go back to the program that we've had, and we are now in the spirit world, and we are all that was, is, and will be, and we understand all that was, is, and will be, then our potential is phenomenal. You know, and what I think Spirit is trying to do is, and we hear the saying, is get us to live as though it is heaven on earth. And, you know, this is the message that you and me and everyone else wants to do. Dance like no one's watching, love like you've never been hurt, sing like no one can hear you, and live as though this is your last day on earth. And you know, we can really feel the joy of ourselves, of our family, and of loved ones in the spirit world.
Yeah. Now, as far as talking about the spirit world go, now, I had a guest on last week where we talked about reincarnation and everything like that. And where we talked about our soul just keeps going on. We'll go over to that other side, probably stay there a little bit, reflect on that, and then re-enter life. But what I'm going with this is there are ascending masters up there, the spirit guides or whatever you want to call them, and I feel that each of us in these lives are trying to get to that point where we can be the spirit guide, where we can be the ascending master, and I think that's where I'm getting close to. I've come back many times, and I'm always trying to better myself, and that's what we got to do in our everyday life, is try to better ourselves, and it'll make us happier and everything like that.
Absolutely. And the question of reincarnation, it's my understanding that we do continue to go back until we have felt we've learned enough lessons. Remember, this business of judgment, you know, Judgment Day, and many people who've had near-death experiences will tell you this, where they've had the opportunity to look at their lives before they've come back. They'll tell you there is no judgment. It is simply the opportunity for themselves to look at their life and reflect and go, okay, not bad, or Mike, you know, you could do better.
What the heck was I thinking there?
Yeah, exactly. But there's no brimstone fire and a finger pointing God. It's you. And my understanding is, for the most part, we get to decide whether we come back or not. Although there are some circumstances where the higher masters will say, no, you're not ready for here yet, you have to go back again. But for the most part, we get to decide whether we wish to go back or not. And no one forces us, and it feels right for us to go back. And so, Phil, this might be your last time here. I'm pretty sure I've been told this is my last time here. Thank God. Yeah. So I'll be working from the other side.
Yeah, I'll be doing the messages to somebody, another psychic or medium in the future. That's like I said, that's what I tend. I'm working towards as a light worker, somebody that's willing to help other people understand, and that's where these spirit guides, these ascending masters, or whatever you want to call them, are. They're the light workers. They're the ones that are giving out the messages to people like myself and you.
Yeah, and you know, if you really want to connect with the other world and all of this, and you don't have time to meditate, but you know, just find yourself. There's this wonderful new concept going around, you know, of gifting, and all you have to do is just give a smile to a poor person who's down and out. Okay, that's all you have to do. He can give you nothing back, okay, except a smile, perhaps. And even if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. You don't know how much good, because talk about frequency, that smile, that just offer that smile raises your vibration. If you do that without anything, without any other wanting anything back, just do it for the sake of doing it to change someone's life. You will raise your vibration. And if you keep doing this kind of stuff, you know, pay it forward. You see these coffee shops, you buy a coffee, give $1, and they put the sticker up, and some unfortunate person comes in, has a free coffee. You have no idea how much good you're doing and how much you're raising your vibration, helping you to connect with the higher source, the higher realms, the source, whatever you wish to call it. Your life just gets projected forward. And it's okay if someone doesn't smile back at you. We do this all the time. I always saying good morning to people if I'm at a bus stop. Morning, because otherwise people just put their heads down, become disconnected from everybody. Yeah. And I like to connect people. Just a hello is all that's required. And we can lift ourselves, and we can start changing the local community like we spoke about earlier. Just change it. And before you know it, we have the 100th monkey effect coming in, where I start saying hello, and then eventually the next person does, and eventually everyone at the bus stop after 6 weeks is saying hello, did you have a good day yesterday? There becomes communication, and then it starts to expand. The 100th monkey effect, it's called. It's really something special, and we can all do this, but it starts with us. So why don't we be the light that makes that difference?
Yeah. All right, so we're running out of time here. You want to let the listeners know where they can get the book, Proof of Survival, and other things from you?
Yeah, the book Proof of Survival can be got from lulu.com or amazon.com. I don't recommend, like many other people, going to Amazon. Better off go to lulu.com. I can be found at sacredcircle.org.uk. I do a live phone in at Blog Talk Radio, and that's blogtalkradio.com/Sacred Circle, or just put my name in the search and you'll find that come up. Of course, facebook.com/Sacred Circle Community. That's where all my uplifting posts and spiritual posts go. That'd probably be the best place to find me. And you can find me out there in the universe somewhere. I'm sure we're connect and resonate at some point somewhere.
We're all connecting. It's just a matter of tuning into that right frequency.
Yeah. That's right. And I'll leave people with this thought, how we're all connected. Collective consciousness aside, just look at the Kevin Bacon experiment, or 6 degrees of separation, and the science shows that, Phil, there are 6 people that I know that will know you. That's how separated we are, only by 6 people. And there's 6 people that separate me from the President of the United States. I know someone who knows 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 the President, and likewise for you, for the Queen of England. We're all connected, separated only by 6 degrees. It's a wonderful concept to know that we're not alone.
Yeah. All right. So I want to thank you again for coming on the show once again. Great guest, great topic, great talk, and everything like that. So you can find everything by Mike on the Talking the Night website. It's linked up there. You can find his website, Sacred Circle. You can purchase his book. And, of course, the ad is playing all week long. The banner ad is up on the website, so just click on that, and that's where you can get to it. Tomorrow night, we're going to be joined by my guest, James Goy Jr., as we talk about laws of attraction, attracting money forever, or how to attract money. So we're going to be joined by James Goy Jr. tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Until then, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night.